Hello, everybody, and thank you for tuning in once again to the Iron Purpose podcast. Just finishing up some vacation time here with the family, and looking forward to get back to work and back to the grind. But in the meantime, the show goes on, and I have a special episode ready to roll for you guys today. Mr. Corbin Bentz. He has become a very good friend of mine over the past year. He is my personal trainer, and he's somebody that I relied on to get back on track with my fitness goals, and it slowly transformed into more than that. And we kind of talk about that on the episode. We talk about kind of where he came from to where he is now, and how that's been a transitional time for him to becoming a better person and helping other people become better people. It's been super cool to see him work. If you've interacted with Corbin before, it's contagious. He's got an awesome personality, and he just really wants the best for his friends and for the people that he's surrounded by. This is episode 21 of the Iron Purpose podcast, featuring my friend and personal trainer, Corbin Bentz. Stay sharp, everybody. Today, a very special guest, Mr. Corbin Bentz. I have referred to him a couple times in this podcast and the previous one, but this is a guy that kind of helped me get on track with my fitness journey, especially kind of when I really needed it. And I might be getting a little too deep right off the bat here, but I saw you working out with other people, training other people, and you had like this energy that I was just like, I want what he's got. I want to be a part of what he's got. And it was just like, oh, hey, everybody, and you're throwing weights around and everything, and so when I got the opportunity to train with you, it was just contagious. It made it fun, even though you're going to make me throw up at the end of it. Like it was
It's part of it.
And that partly was my problem, and we figured that out. But, I really, and back when, and I've talked about my story with Sartell and everything, and one of the things, there's 3 things that really helped me get back on track with my mental health and my life, and it was, I've talked about it before, but, Sartell, I was working as a police officer there, and it didn't work out because my mental health was just so in the dumps, and my anxiety, I didn't really deal much with depression, but the anxiety for sure. But I met with my pastor to work on my spiritual side, and I met with a therapist to kind of get my mental stuff down, and then working out with you, finding somebody that can hold me accountable, getting my physical stuff in check, really helped that holistic growth in my life. So thank you for that. It's made a big difference in my life, and then now being able to be friends with that guy that I was like, man, I really want what he's got. And now, like, being a friend with you has been just a fun experience, and people say life's not all sunshine and rainbows, but I know whenever I come in a takedown, either you're at the desk or I'm going to work out with you, sunshine and rainbows is what I'm going to get. It's just a good, positive experience, regardless. Like, I don't think I've ever really seen you upset. Obviously, I don't go home with you and stuff. So.
Yeah. For the record, I do get upset.
Barely. You don't show it, but I appreciate you, man, for real. And this means a lot that you're on here. And just, sometimes people are like, well, why do you want me on the podcast? Like, what are we going to talk about? And maybe you have those same feelings, but, like, just you being that positive person, like, within everything that can be going on nowadays, like, especially within your career, like, you just seem very passionate. Either you're really good at faking it, or you are, seriously really good at it. But, and I have a cousin, too, who I want her to come on the podcast, and she's like, what are we going to talk about? I'm just like, you just got it. Whatever it is, you've got it. And yeah. I want it, and I want people to know what it is, and I want people to experience it, that positive, just have this aura about you. I can't explain it. Maybe people can understand. Maybe they have somebody in their life like that. But
yeah, I think you hit the nail on the head on that one. I don't love this term anymore, but it's helped me build who I am. Fake it till you make it. Mm-hmm. My first boss at my first training job told me that. And as much as I was kind of 50-50 on the border on that one. But I just feel like you said, bringing a positive aura and being positive and fun. Most people think of the gym kind of like dogs and cats think of the vet clinic. They're not excited to be there.
That's a great analogy.
It's a good way to put it. A lot of people aren't super excited, and they kind of dread going in because it's going to be hard, and they're gonna put themselves to work, or somebody else is going to do that. So if I can bring a positive energy and make things fun, mm-hmm. even just a little bit, makes people actually want to be here and more excited to be there in a sense.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So
it's And there's something about it, especially, this gym too, because I think it's just a culture that it has, and they must have seen you and been like, yeah, we want him to be a part of what we have going on. And especially recently, like, the ladies at the front desk and just all the people that are working here, you walk past the desk and you're like, okay, I was greeted by these people, it was really nice. Okay, turn around the hall, and you're walking down the hall, and you can just, whether you hear you yelling at somebody in there, like, come on! It's like, all right, let's go, yeah. I'm getting amped as we're walking in here, like, I want to be here so bad.
Yeah.
And it's all because of people being put in place.
For sure. Yeah, and sometimes it's quiet in here, and I love bringing the opposite aspect of that. One of my biggest things that I love is it's not a library, it's a gym. So, got to make some noise, whether that be weights being thrown around, making some slamming, some grunting, some yelling, got to yell at some people, whatever it takes. Got to change that a little bit. When it's that quiet, sometimes I just yell to yell. I'm not even training myself or anybody else. You just got to do it. Got to get some people moving. Got to get some people growing and moving.
Yeah.
Whatever it takes.
And it seems like there's not a lot of gyms that do that nowadays. Like, and I haven't been to a million gyms, but especially in this area, there's been a couple. Like, I love Anytime Fitness, but there's another one where it's like if you make too much noise, like you're frowned upon, or you try to be the macho guy in there. It's like, get out of here. It's like, I feel like working out, that's kind of what it entails. Like, it's helping people become confident in themselves and not really worrying about what other people think.
Yeah, I agree. The gym mentality and the gym culture has definitely changed. I have, let's call it an old school approach. Loud and proud, let's say. Mm-hmm. You got to make some noise. People are cheering each other on. You just go up to random people and ask for spots. This stuff doesn't really happen anymore. You can have an effective workout if you're quiet, and you can still get strong and make any gains or whatever you want in the gym, but why not throw around a little weight, make it a little more fun, meet some friends while you're there, ask them for spots, you're trying to do some heavy stuff, whatever, have people cheer you on. I don't want it to be quiet. I think that makes it weirder, so why not make a little noise?
I was going to save all the questions for later on, but this one just came to me. You talk about, like, cheering people on and having, like, that camaraderie. And that's what I think a lot of people don't understand about going to the gym. They think, just going to work out, you're just focusing on yourself. And a lot of times that was me. I'd come to the gym with my headphones on and my hood up. Nobody talk to me. Nobody look at me. I'm just going to go do my thing. And there has been such a shift, especially when you come here and you work here, so you know a lot of people here anyways. But, like, people come up to you all the time and, fist bump you or whatever. Like, hey, let's go. Yeah, we're, can I get a workout? What are you working? And, like, there's such a social aspect that people don't understand, like, that you get in coming to the gym, like camaraderie, building that, that team building, being able to cheer each other on. Because, and I think of this too, like sitting in the sauna. When I was going regularly, there was very consistently before my wedding, we'd go to the sauna every morning after our workout, and there was probably like 6 or 7 other guys in there, and there was always the same guys. Mm-hmm. And it's like when you're in a room of people going through it, like when you're sitting in a sauna and you're at 15 minutes and you're just sweating and you're purposely throwing yourself into the fire, like it means a lot more when there's like, other people are doing it. It's like, good for you for being in here because this sucks. And I don't know if it's a lot more easy to get through it when you're talking with other guys or like doing a training session with you. Yeah, it sucks. It's really, it's miserable because you're putting yourself through that. Just you know how to get every last inch of effort out of me, But it's so much easier to do when you have somebody like you or having somebody else cheering you on and helping you out through that. And totally. Coming to the gym, too, you meet all kinds of different people. I've got a bunch of friends now that I've met at the gym, you being one of them. And I think of Tim Sowers, he was the episode 1 of this podcast. He was on here. My buddy Jack, well, he's my brother-in-law, but he comes here and just people that he immerses himself with. Mm-hmm. You just get to know. It's like a community of people that aren't afraid to do difficult things. And when you have people like that in your corner, like, that when life gets difficult on the outside, like, those are some people that you can rely on. And it's all because,
yeah,
just talking to people at the gym. You build an army.
Yeah, it's like you're on a team that you don't know who's on your team, but you slowly meet your teammates as you keep going to the same place. Slowly but surely.
Yes. Oh, that is so true. Yeah. Like, where's my,
Yeah, and you meet these people because most of the time you come the same days at the same time. Mm-hmm. So those people are usually there at the same days at the same time. So you start to meet them. You really build a culture together. You do a lot of the same stuff with the same people every time, so they're going to be there. Just little aspects like that. Mm-hmm. Most people go, at the same time, so they deal with that, and then they get to meet these people. Then they get to sit in the sauna with them. So everybody's doing everything together. Mm-hmm. That's what's nice.
Yeah, then you get to learn more about them, and then go out to dinner and meet their wife and kids and
Yep.
all this other stuff. And
Yeah.
it's funny, too, because you may not even know their name for the longest time. Or, like, for me, I'm so bad with names, so I forget it. And then, like, but I'll come to the gym and be like, hey, where's that guy? I haven't seen him in a while. Or, like, you know, he's not here. He's not on time. What's going on? And then, like, you know, you can BS with him a little bit. You know, hey, why are you late? Or, you know, it's such a cool environment that I think a lot of people miss out on because they're, you know, it's like that vet. You know, the animals going to the vet. They don't like it. I think it's my dog, Sully, I brought him to the vet the other day, and he's pulling the parking lot. He just starts shaking. He's like, I don't want to be here, man.
I know. I get that all the time. I didn't want to come today. And I'm like, well, you did the hardest part, getting in the car and driving here. Mm. But then when you pull into the parking lot, you're already here. So you may as well go in. You may as well do what you plan to do. Sweat it out. People always feel better. Mm. Very small percentage of people do it, and then they're like, man, I didn't do anything. Like, I feel worse. Very small percentage, if I ever heard that. 98, 99% of the time, they feel better. They're glad they came. They leave. It's a good habit. Mm-hmm. The hardest part is getting out of bed, get in the car, driving here. It's the hardest part. So,
honestly, especially if it is earlier in the morning. But then you get it out of the way, and it's just you know, it's not the funnest while you're going through it. Obviously, I mean, because it hurts a little bit. Even the people that say they really like working out, I mean, except for you, I think you actually do enjoy the pain.
I enjoy the pain. Yes, I've been called psycho and everything under the books, but it's just something you learn to love. I love doing it. I love pushing myself, and it helps me in other aspects of life. Mm-hmm. I think a good example that you always bring up is when we started training together, I taught you mental toughness, and I'm sure we'll talk about it more. Mm-hmm. But being able to push through, get every ounce of everything you've got that day out of you, like you said, and then later when you tried to put in a dishwasher in your house, you were going to call somebody and have them do it, and you decided, nope, I can do this, and he ended up putting in the dishwasher. I think that's your best. I love that story. I love hearing it every time. It's always good to go back on, especially on the hardest days. Mm-hmm. When you get stuck, you just think back to that day and be like, no, I completed that task because I knew I could do it. Mm-hmm. I think it's a good one to rebound on, for sure. Yeah, I don't always just give tips for lifting. I think I've really adapted that into just being able to deal with life. And, you know, you can be tough in the gym, but then you can be soft as Play-Doh in the real world. Mm-hmm. But why not think the same way as you do in the gym? And building that way of thinking, take it into life. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that's a part that's missing. Yeah,
that's huge. And that's a great point. I'm glad you brought that up because, I got the dishwasher, and Courtney's dad, he's super handy. Shout out Dave, awesome guy, helping with, you know, whatever. And, like, he wasn't there at the time. And I was like, man, I gotta put this dishwasher in. I can't do this. And so I got, like, halfway through it, and I wanted to give up. And I did. I remember we were doing, I think we were doing lunges, and I had dumbbells, and we were going, and then you're like, don't just stop, you just keep moving. And I was just like, why would I stop doing this? Like, I know I can just figure it out, just do it. Like, you know, you feel nothing, you're fine. I'm like, okay.
One of my patented sayings.
Even if I gotta cry through putting in this dishwasher, I'm gonna do it, and I did, and I reached out to you. So that's really cool.
Yeah, I love that story, and it gets done. Going back to the lunges, you know, you're like, oh man, I don't want to do this, and like nobody ever does, and then you get done. A lot of what I hear is, oh man, that was hard, which brings me into another patent saying that I have: hard work is hard. That's what it is. If it was easy, everybody would do it.
Yes.
Everybody would.
Yeah.
But that's why we're here, to get better and work hard. Mm-hmm. The harder you work in the gym, the easier life is. That's another. I say that all the time. It's a good way to put it. Mm-hmm. You can make your life easy by doing the easy things, but then life becomes harder in the long run. If you do the hard things up front, life becomes easier. Just doing the old flip-flop.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I think there's something to be said, too, about purposely putting yourself in that fire. Because, like, for me, like, when I started out going to the gym in the morning, it's like, I get it out of the way, and I'm starting my day with probably the most difficult thing I'm going to do that day. Like, I'm physically exerting my body, and there's a mental side of it, too, like you said. You're building that mental toughness, and you're also getting around to, you know, see all these people, too. Like, so you're filling your cup in a lot of different ways, but if you're purposely putting yourself in that sauna, too, and, you know, watching the sweat drip off your face and making a big puddle around you, everything else that comes at you the rest of the day, it's like, if I purposely throw myself in the fire, any fire that's going to come my way, it's going to be like, I've already been there, man. I got this over with for the day. So, come on, bring it on. Turn up the heat. You know,
it's easier to deal with, for sure. I've been in the sauna, too, and, you know, I try to go for that 20-minute mark, and I tell you what, I get to about minute 13, 14, I don't really want to be there in it anymore, right? Most of the time when I do it, it's at times I'm here more often, so nobody's in there but just me. So I have to fight through that mentally. The last thing I want to do is sit in there anymore, but I want to reach that 20-minute mark. And it's a good... It's not really physical so much. It's more mental. It's a mental battle at that point. And if you can push through mentally, your body will follow. Whatever you do, that way, your body will follow if you can mentally push through. It'd be easy for me to stand up, leave the sauna, go stand outside and calm down, but why not push through a little bit more? Yeah.
You get that achievement too. You're like, I did it. You're like, if I did
boom,
this.
I hit 20 minutes. Let's go. Now I can leave.
Now I can crawl out and hopefully not die.
Yeah.
And I think the same can be said for like lifting weights, trying to go for a PR or like lifting, I don't want to hit, gotta do 10 more of these, what do you mean? And like you push through it, like, oh man, okay, I did that.
Yeah.
That's gotta be a cool feeling to be able to instill that in people.
It is, and as silly as my sayings are, I've really, just made them up on the spot to help people through. Gives them something to attach that hard work to so that they can say the sayings. But it is a great feeling. Like I said, it's like the sauna. I mean, you have 10 more reps, you're like, really 10 more reps? You can either set it down and give up, or you can push through and see what you're made of. I push everybody to their potential. Not everybody's the same, so everybody has different potential.
Right.
So that's what people mistake my training as. They think I'm just going to like destroy them like I would maybe a D1 athlete or something, but I push them as hard as their potential lets them, which may be less weight or less reps or less sets or something in that realm, but it's going to push them to the brink, make them better. So that next time I can push them a little bit further and make them better, and then keep going and going. Yeah.
A great analogy of that is me coming in. You're starting out, like you kind of got a feel for where I was at, and then we started pushing a little bit, and I was like, I'm going to go puke.
Yeah.
You're like, okay, dial it in a little bit, and like, you didn't give me any shortcuts or cut me any breaks. You just found a way to get me to that point and then stop. Okay, all right, now we're going to keep getting you to that point. As you start to get better, that point's going to get farther and farther away, but I'm going to keep getting you there. I'm going to keep hitting that potential, and that's what you did. And
totally.
I thought of another quote. We were doing leg press, and you had it up to and up until that point, I've been doing maybe like 175, like just hitting those reps, and like you put it to like 315 or something. I'm like, I don't know if I could do this. And I start pushing, like, okay, I can. And you said, legs feed the wolves, baby. And I don't know where you got that quote, but that one really stuck with me because it was like, yeah, the legs feed the wolves. Like, if a wolf is out there and he doesn't have any legs, or if he's got weak little legs, how is he going to run through all the snow and get what he needs to survive? So it's like, tying that quote into that mentality as I'm pushing, like, okay, I got to feed my family. I got to be the best man that I could be for my job. I'm at work and one of my partners is getting attacked, in the next cell block. Like, I got to be able to run there. And so, like, instilling that purpose into that workout just by saying that little quote, it just unlocked all this stuff for me. It's like, all right, I gotta push through this.
Yeah, it doesn't only apply to the legs, but shout out Josh Levine in Fortis Academy. He won't hear this, but that's okay. I played hockey growing up, so the strength conditioning that we did was through this guy that graduated from our high school. So he was a few years older than us, super motivating. He wasn't the most skilled player, but man, his work ethic was insane. So he was the captain of the hockey team, helped bring them through the hard work to, the Minnesota State hockey tournament and stuff like that. He graduated anyway, came back, does strength conditioning for us through hockey, right? Legs feed the wolf. Obviously you use your legs more than anything in hockey. So maxing out on bench press didn't matter, right? What were we doing 2 out of the 3 or 3 out of the 4 days of strength training? Squats, lunges, sprints, box jumps, all the stuff that I implement today, and then he'd throw in one upper body day. He was like, fine, I'll give it to you guys. That's basically how it went.
Come on.
And his saying, which obviously I took, was legs feed the wolf. And it's true. It's what I use into my own training today. What is the one thing people skip the most? Usually leg day or any sort of legs. If they do it, it's usually what I find an easy 3x8, an easy 3x10. Yes, did they work by the end of maybe the second set to the third set? And they're like, whew, I trained my legs. Did they work?
Right.
No, not to like what I would say, right? So legs feed the wolf. I always do a little bit more legs than upper body, especially for guys because it's easier for us to build an upper body. But I think it's an important thing that people skip, and it's just you got to learn how to train it. It elicits a bigger response, so that's why. Hence, when you were talking about you puking in our sessions, the legs always got you. Whether it be from leg press, I put you on the sled, something would cause that.
Even lunges.
Yeah, even lunges would do it. It's a lot of pushing. They're big muscle groups. They don't make you feel very good. But what I'm most proud of you for is pushing through and continue to come back. I told you, hey, don't let this get you down. Just because you puke doesn't mean it's the worst thing in the world. Mm-hmm. We'll get through it. And what I'm proud of you for, too, is implementing cardio and strength training on your own. And then when you came here to see me, we could really hit it hard. Mm-hmm. And I saw huge improvements there into today. You just continue to work that schedule, and it makes a huge, huge difference. Mm-hmm. You can't come in and work with me one time a week, and then things can't really change as much as people would think they would.
Right.
So it's important.
Yeah, I appreciate that. And we started out doing I think it was every week for the longest time, and then we kind of switched to every other week. And now that I've had a kid, we kind of had to take a break, but we'll get back to that. I want to get back into it. But it held me accountable too, just that one time a week. I wasn't going to the gym to work out with you and be like, all right, I got my one session for the week, I'll be good until next time. And it's like, no, I got to hold myself accountable, because if I don't do this, I'm going to throw up every time I see this guy. He's going to push me. He's not going to try to make me puke, but he's going to push me to my limit. And if my limit is puking, then I got to work on it on my own to try to get to that point too. Totally. So that's what maybe some people don't understand that as well, because like they get into it with a physical trainer or a personal trainer, and they're like, well, I'm not seeing results. I've been going every other week with you, man, and I'm not seeing results. It's like, well, you gotta figure out a way to put in the work, on your own, and then just use you as an accountability tool. Like, if I go there and we're not getting any progress, it's gonna be like, what the heck, man? All right, totally. I'm just gonna keep, collecting a paycheck until you start, investing in your own self.
Yeah, and I've been training a long time, about 7 years now, and I'm definitely more willing to be just open and honest with people. Mm-hmm. We do what's a very short session, I still think, 30 minutes here. And people will sign up for once a week with me, sometimes 2, sometimes 3. I've had up to four times a week with one person. Mm-hmm. 4 times a week is obviously more than one, but it's still only 2 hours total throughout an entire week. Mm-hmm. And you can make progress with that. But I always tell everybody, you have to do more than that on your own. Right. You can't just work out for 30 minutes and expect it to be this huge, huge change. You always have to do something on your own, whether it should be walking or moving in general. You have to take control of your own life. And the 3 pillars I always talk about are sleep, nutrition, and training. And I always say it in that order because that's the order of importance. Sleep is number 1. Nutrition is number 2. If you honestly lock those in, it becomes easier. The training is the easy part. Yes, do I make it hard? Of course. Of course I'm going to do that to elicit a response. Right. Those are the 3 pillars. If you're missing a pillar, your structure is going to fall over. Mm-hmm. Missing 2 pillars, that thing is not going to stand up. That's what I always tell people. Mm-hmm. It's like a tripod. You take away one of the legs, thing's going to tip over. Right. Those are the 3 most important things. And you can break down those. I always start with a broad aspect, and you can break them down into like little aspects within those 3 pillars, but it's a good place to start. Mm-hmm. Always. I would start there. Right. Yeah.
And that's something I think that I struggle with is nutrition and staying on top of that. And you can have any excuse in the book, like, well, it's too expensive to do this or too expensive to try to eat those things, but just trying to hone in on nutrition, I think that's something that I really struggle with, something that I'm trying to...
If it makes people feel better, I struggle with it too. Nutrition's hard. It's hard. I love cereal. I just love it. So it's hard for me to go to not eat cereal or stop at 1 bowl. My typical is 1 to 4 bowls, if anybody's wondering. I've gone as high as 5 one time, and I probably won't ever make that mistake.
Oh, man.
Yeah, that was a lot.
What's your cereal choice?
The best cereal is Cheerios Oat Crunch, the cinnamon kind.
Cheerios Oat Crunch?
Cheerios Oat Crunch.
Are you talking Honey Bunches Oat? Cheerios Oat Crunch?
It's called Cheerios Oat Crunch. It has, I think it's cinnamon, too.
Yeah?
Yep, that's the best cereal out there.
I've never heard of it.
Can't beat it. Number 2, Cinnamon Life cereal.
Okay.
The Aldi brand, I've gotten so used to it.
Shout out Aldi.
Shout out Aldi. And it's only $2, basically.
Wow, okay.
Yeah, so we buy a couple of those. We're always stocked. We have minimum 4 boxes of those in the house at all times. Sometimes more. Depends.
Yeah.
But, oh man, that cereal's so good. Oh, just can't help it.
Give it 3rd. It's a cinnamon. You're a cinnamon.
Cocoa, what are they called? Cocoa Krispies?
Pebbles or Krispies?
Pebbles. Cocoa Pebbles. Yeah. That's what they are. Fruity Pebbles? No. I used to like those. Not as good. Cocoa.
Was it that
Cocoa
5th
Pebbles.
bowl of Fruity Pebbles?
Boy, I think that day I switched. A couple bowls of Cocoa Pebbles. I don't know if I had Cheerios Oat Crunch that day. It might have been three bowls of Cinnamon Life cereal after that. That was a heck of a day.
Oh, I love that. So you kind of touched on how you've been training for 7 years now, training other people. now I want to just kind of give you the opportunity to tell about yourself a little bit. We've kind of tiptoed around what you do and kind of who you are, but what kind of got you into this fitness role of being a personal trainer, or maybe things that you kind of went through that kind of helped you in your journey of getting here.
Yeah, for sure. Well, I grew up in Bloomington, Minnesota, so always been a Minnesota boy. That's a suburb down in the cities, in case those who don't know. Like I said, I was actually a chunkier kid growing up. I was chunky and kind of I was pretty lazy. Mm-hmm. I actually asked my dad how I was when I was in like 5th, 6th grade. It wasn't great. I just wanted to play games. I never wanted to practice playing sports. I played hockey and baseball. So I never wanted to practice. I thought I was a little lazy. I was pretty chunky. When I got to high school, my older brother, who's a year older than me, started teaching me to weight lift. And I did it solely in the aspect to look better, right? Like most high schoolers do. Mm-hmm. We already touched on it a little bit. Going to about sophomore, junior year, we started strength training for hockey. And it was during the summer, and we'd go hard, learning all the things, squats, lunges, plyometrics, sprints. That's the coach that really inspired me the most. Legs Beat the Wolf. Man, he pushed us hard. It was awesome. Somebody screaming at you, somebody coming from our high school through the program of hockey. You have a lot of respect for him. Mm-hmm. That really drove me to be a harder worker. When he left, I tried keeping that up, but it's, I was also 17, 18 at the time. It's hard to keep that motivation without somebody yelling at you or keeping you going. So I probably lost it a little bit, but fitness never went away. It was always something that was number 1 or number 1, 2, or 3 in my life. It always was it's always been at the top since that point. When I went to college, I didn't know what I wanted to do. I was undecided for a pretty long time. Nothing really sounded fantastic to me, so I just kind of was undecided. And then I one day was like, after the first semester, I was like, well, I got to have a major. I can't just mosey through college here. Mm-hmm. So I was like, well, I like training and I like working out. So I went into a field the major health, wellness, and fitness. And, like everybody's first thought, personal trainer eventually. But I just did it because I liked working out. Eventually, I kind of learned as I went through the years in college that, go to college to be a personal trainer. Anybody can be a personal trainer. Mm-hmm. It's not that hard. You just have to graduate high school and pass the test. So what molded me was to get my CSCS, which is Certified Strength and Conditioning Specialist. Mm-hmm. You have to have a 4-year degree from college.
Is that like a certificate thing?
Yeah, so it's like a certification. Yeah, so when you graduate high school, you can get a couple through a couple different programs or whatever, and you just have to have a high school degree, and you just have to study, pass the test, and you can be a personal trainer. So for this one, you have to have a 4-year college degree. You have to take the test, pass it, obviously, and then it's almost like what I thought was the gold standard certification because of the 4-year degree. So I had a Certified Strength Conditioning Specialist degree, and it actually landed me my first job as a trainer out of college. I took a break after college. I took like a year and a half off. I was applying to jobs pretty slowly and lazily, but eventually I went on Indeed, and I'm glad I got the certification and worked for that because it actually got my first training job to reach out to me. I didn't even apply. Wow. She reached out to me, and I went in for an interview, and that's where I worked for my first job, which was, shout out Tone Today, down in Savage Prior Lake. That's where I met my coworker, Alex Valesky. Shout out Alex Valesky, if he ever hears this.
He's gonna know.
Yeah, right. He was my first coworker and training companion, and he taught me a ton of stuff. Programming, how to cycle. He taught me powerlifting, and I really got into it from there. Turned into a power lifter. Before that, I was more like doing bodybuilding style, just kind of like trying to go for, I didn't really know what, kind of more like an aesthetic look of bodybuilding. So I was just doing a lot of volume and honestly didn't really know what I was doing for the longest time. I thought I was programming, then I would do other programs, and I thought it was oh yeah, I'm on top of it. I know what I'm doing. Looking back now, it was ridiculous. He taught me how to power lift, how to program for powerlifting, how to lift more effectively. And slowly but surely I learned how to do that. And a lot of our programs from that job were basically strength-based, kind of like powerlifting. Mm-hmm. Actually, a lot of the clients started doing powerlifting competitions. And I still see them on Facebook and stuff, and they're still doing them to this day.
Wow.
So it's pretty cool.
That's kind of, yeah.
from there, it was more like general public too. We did semi-private, so I was doing like 5 people at a time, kind of stuff like that. Eventually, because I got my CSCS, my goal in college was to end up training, let's just say the Minnesota Twins or Minnesota Vikings, kind of pro teams.
Athletes, yeah.
Man, that was my dream. I thought that'd be so cool. After learning how much, work and internships you needed, it kind of turned from that into just training athletes in general. So after Tone Day, my brother went to physical therapy school at St. Kate's with a friend. His name's Matt Yagi. Shout out Matt Yagi. I'm getting tons of people shout outs.
I love it.
He connected me with Matt, and Matt was starting up a business called Altia Sports Performance. And he had been in the area of Stillwater for years, probably 5 to 7 years, something like that, training out of gyms, out of the high school, middle schools, stuff like that. And he finally bought his own place, all of his own equipment. So I went in and got in touch with him, started working with him. It was just me and him, and I helped him build big programs, big teams in the area, Stillwater, St. Croix Prep, stuff like that, working with athletes all over the board. Soccer, lacrosse were some of the main ones, football, track and field, wrestling, everything under the sun, hockey. So I got a ton of experience training athletes, and I stopped powerlifting so much and transitioned my focus on training athletes, and then I treated myself as an athlete. So I was trying to program for myself, try out different stuff, and then I would guinea pig my athletes and try out anything and everything with them. It was really fun. It honestly opened up my creative side, and I just started making stuff up. And the ones that could do anything or high level athletes, I just tried out random stuff and see what worked, see what didn't, tailor it to their level. It was really fun. Really broke away from weightlifting is everything to, movement is more important. And a good saying came from Matt Yagi, strength is king, but speed kills. So my focus that I do now, the biggest thing I talk about is movement. I train movement, not sport. I do train sport specific technically, but it's more movement specific. Everybody moves in sports, and a lot of sports are the same. Soccer, lacrosse, football. It's all about movement.
It's the foundation.
Yeah.
Movement is medicine.
Movement is medicine. That is true. And what I used to think was super important of 1 rep maxes and just increasing weights in the weight room is not as important to me. It's great that if you can take your bench press or your squat from 300 pounds and by the end of the summer you get it to 330, let's say, that's a great 30-pound jump. But if that's all you focused on, how does that help you on the field? Are you really on the field laying down doing a bench press, or are you on the field knocking another body around? Then they knock you to the ground. You got to get up, sprint to where the ball is, go tackle somebody, and then they fumble it, and you got to pick it up. You got to run it another 60 yards. What's more important there? So these are the things I try to instill in my athletes and anybody I train, honestly. That's the way I focus any training now. That's where it got me to today. The way I look at it is everybody's an athlete. It's just a matter of what are they capable of and what's their potential. Right. Obviously, I'm not going to train a 18-year-old that's playing football the same as I'm going to train a 65-year-old that's just adding strength to their body to help with daily life. Obviously, it's going to be a little different. Training aspects are the same. It just looks a little different with each age. Sure. So
and it's kind of cool how you have that. You instill that foundation. You're not necessarily working with somebody specifically on, I'm a football trainer, I'm a basketball trainer. It's let's focus on this one thing, build a foundation, and then you're going to be able to use what I taught you in all these areas of your life. From a little kid, or not a little kid, but from a younger kid trying to get into sports to someone who's a lot older, who's just trying to, lift their grandkid or something. It's like, I'm going to train you movement so that you can, you can do these things that you enjoy and instill that in them.
Yeah, 100%. I keep the foundations the same, whether I've trained as young as 6-year-olds, and them just being able to move their body is a miracle, right? Keeping them focused, they're like squirrels with ADHD, so keeping them focused, moving, and then I've trained the same way for an 18-year-old. It's just a matter of the dose. So if I make a 6-year-old crawl like a bear, I'm going to make them go for a little bit, and then when they start to lose focus, I'll make them quickly do something else. With an 18-year-old, I make them go further, make them go longer, just increase the strength, make sure their body moves well and efficiently. And the only difference is I may be able to load them with some weight, whether, the 6-year-old can't, but the 18-year-old obviously can. But I obviously make sure the foundations are there. And then once they get the basics and the foundations down, we can start doing, what people probably call as crazy stuff. More sprints, more jumps, make it look cool, a little bit cooler, and just add different aspects to their training.
Right. Yeah. So while we're here, so then when it comes to an older generations, I've seen people in here in their 70s working out and lifting weights and stuff and being trained. I don't know his exact name or how old he is, but he's got to be at least 60 or 70. And there's a couple of them that come in here. What does it look like to train those people, and how does your approach, with them differ from, one of a younger generation? Are you still trying to push them to their limits, or what does that look like?
I am. Their limits are just different.
Sure.
They get tired more. Things hurt usually a little bit more. The foundations, like I've been talking about, are the same. I try to get them to move and move effectively. It's just about how much dose they can handle. As I get older, I notice it's not work harder, it's work smarter. So the older they get, the smarter I work them.
Love that.
So if I take a younger kid, let's go back to an 18-year-old, and they're trying to squat 300 pounds, we're going to try and push the weight, right? I'm going to teach them how to squat effectively, and we're going to push weight till they reach the goal of 300. 70-year-old, I'm not going to throw any weight on their back. I'm going to make sure they move effectively first, and then I can start to load them. And then at that age, it's not really like they're trying to hit PRs at any point anyway, right? So adding...
And maybe some are.
Some are. You never know. You got to ask them.
Right.
But, just adding any load, just making sure they still move effectively through that load, adding strength through the range of motion that they can give me, whatever that may be, and just building healthier movers is key. Making sure that they know they can do it. It just takes a little bit longer. Their recovery time is slower. The ability to build that strength is slower, but it's still really, really important. As people age, the biggest thing I see is people get more tired. Right. And then they don't want to work at all. They just want to sit there, and then any amount of work they think is dangerous and they can hurt themselves. But it's important to keep moving, working on strength, balance, making sure that you don't just fall over. Right. The more you sit, the more ineffective that stuff is, for sure.
That's so true. And I think of my own grandpa, who's 80. He's maybe 83. Sorry, Grandpa, if what was that? Oh, something popped up. I'll edit that out. My grandpa, he's got to be mid-80s or something, but he was also on the podcast, so tune into that episode if you want to hear his story. But he's somebody who's always been active, hasn't been in the gym or anything like that, but he gets out and he moves all the time. He's just nonstop going. And there was one time, a couple years ago, we were outside moving something in the woods, and he ended up tripping, and I'm like, oh no, and he's going down, and he as he's falling, does a little barrel roll, and then gets right back up. I'm like, you okay? He's like, yeah, we're all right. So it's that just goes to show, if you do just sit down and, kind of just let life happen to you, you're not going to be able to move as efficiently as you could. Maybe if he were sitting down and not moving all that time and then goes outside and trips and falls, maybe he breaks his hip, maybe he doesn't have the mobility to move and roll a little bit to avoid getting injured. So it's cool that it's extremely inspiring seeing the older generations in the gym working out for two reasons. One, it's they're crushing it. They've been crushing it all this time, and they're still crushing it. And then two, on the flip side, myself, when I think about not going to the gym, it's I don't want to wait until I'm 80 years old to get into the gym. At that point, it's all that time where I could have been in there. And now maybe I'm starting to feel the effects of not going to the gym, and I could have been working on it all this time. Why wait until that point where it's probably too late?
Totally, that's a great point. Actually, I have a pretty good story based off what you said.
Yeah.
A client came up to me, and I'm sure a lot of people have heard of 75 hard and those challenges and stuff. People always ask me if I do that. Let's just take 75 hard for an example. People ask me if I do these challenges, and I'm like, no, I never do them. And they're like, what? Why? Aren't you a trainer? Aren't you into fitness? I am. I actually had a client. He's a recent client, but he came up to me. He said he's going to start 75 hard. I said, that's great. Follow the instructions. Do it, and then by the end you'll feel like a better person. And he asked me if I've ever done it. Why don't I do it? I said, I keep fitness in my life very consistent. I do the 365 hard. So I'm so consistent that I do it throughout the year. I don't want to do a challenge. Then when the 75 hard is over, I'm like, whew, oh man, now I can do all these things that were limited. I can drink again. I don't have to work out twice a day. and then the challenge is over. I can go back to my, let's just say, normal life.
Mm-hmm.
For me, it's more about consistency.
Mm.
I do the 365 hard. So if I miss 1 week, it's not a big deal. I don't love it by any means, but then the next week I get right back into it.
Mm-hmm.
I just went on 2 vacations in a row, and I don't love going on vacation just because it throws off my schedule,
sure.
in a sense, for lifting and daily life, which I really do love. And the second week I tried working out when I was in the hotel, and I did 1 day, and I was like, you know what, I'm just going to enjoy this time off. I can take 2 weeks off, and then after that, I'll work out the other 50 weeks of the year.
Mm-hmm.
I'll just stay consistent. And I think that's the biggest thing. People think they have to do these challenges because they went from nothing to, they go from 0 to 100.
Mm-hmm.
So they go from kind of getting in here every once in a while, and then they're like, okay, I'm going to do 75 hard, and that's going to be the challenge. But once it's over, what happens? The point of it is to keep that consistency.
Mm.
Don't just do that for 75 days and then go back to what you were doing. I don't love that. That's why I don't love the challenges. I'm more about if you come in consistently 2 to 3 times a week, you can build more of a base and build the foundations, and then you can add in a 75-day hard, something like that. That's what I usually tell people.
Yeah. Beautifully said.
Yeah.
I've heard consistency is key. Along with the movement is medicine, consistency is key.
True.
And then Michael Chandler, I'm a huge follower of his. He also says that it's not that people don't do the right things; it's that they don't do the right things for long enough. And you said some people get into the gym out here and there, and they're like, "Well, I'm going to do a 75 hard because that's going to fix all my problems. I do this really hard thing, and and then once I'm done, then it'll be great." But like you said, either people get halfway through and they drop out, or they're done and "Oh, whoo, I did that."
Yeah.
It's almost more effective just coming to the gym, even if it's a lesser workout. I mean, in my opinion, maybe you could say that it's not, but just being consistent doing even a little bit less than a 75 hard throughout the year, like you said, 365 hard, just coming in and being consistent with it, you're going to see more results than you would for...
So true. I think people try to go 0 to 100, and that's also part of the problem, right? They try to go from, I went from sitting on the couch, and now I'm going to follow this 5-day-a-week program. I'm like, whoa, that is a huge jump, and that's going to be really tough. The first thing I usually try to tell people is find things that you enjoy. If you like weightlifting, great. If you don't like running, then don't run. I just feel like it's a simple recipe, but people always turn to running, and that's my biggest example. People are like, wow, I need some cardio and I need to lose some weight, so I'm going to run. I'm like, do you like running? No, I hate it. Why do it? Find something else. There are tons of other things you can do. Run, walk at an incline, stair stepper, elliptical. You can pull a sled. Not many people choose that, let's be honest.
Right.
You could ride a bicycle. Granted, we're in Minnesota, so in the winter it's definitely harder. But
snowshoe.
Yeah, go to yoga, go to a boot camp. Try out different things. Find something you like. The things you enjoy are going to make you go back, because if you try to run, you can stay on a consistent schedule, sure, but eventually you're going to be like, man, I really dislike this activity, and I'm not going to do it today because I don't feel like it. Right. So find something you enjoy rather than just trying to push through on something you absolutely hate.
That's a fantastic point.
Yeah, it's one of the biggest things. People are like, well, I hate doing that. I'm going to do it. I'm like, why? Find something you actually like. Or if you're going to do something you hate, maybe do it once a week, and then find a different activity that you do like and do that the other day, so you have something to look forward to rather than oh my goodness, I have to run this day and this day. That sucks.
Right.
This is going to suck. And then everything, you're not having a good time. It's funny how people work like that.
See, that's why I like you. You figure out a way to enjoy things, especially when you may not like them. And you brought up a really good point. If you don't like it, well, find something that you do like and do that instead. And that, I think of just a couple weeks ago, trying to sprinkle in my workouts and get back into a routine has been difficult with a baby, but we're making it work. And there's a time where I came to the gym, it's like you said, the hardest part is getting out of bed and driving here. And once you've done that, you're good. But even I was in the parking lot and I was looking at the workout that I had ahead, and I was like, I do not want to do this. I do not feel like doing it. And it had I think it had some lunges and some stuff involved. It was just and I'm trying to run a little bit more too. Same thing. Me and cardio don't get along. Yeah. I was I do not want to go run on the treadmill for 2 hours. Or for 2 miles. 2 miles.
It was more than I would do.
For 2 miles. But I'm very, very passionate about mixed martial arts, MMA, I like UFC, and I have my gloves in my bag, so I was like, you know what, I'm going to go hit the bag, and I had a huge, it wasn't probably as much as if I would have went for a 2 mile run, but I still got a lot of cardio in. I was sweating and I enjoyed it, and it just kind of filled my cup getting in there and hitting the bag with my gloves and stuff. And like, that's a good point because like I didn't want to come. I got here. I didn't want to do this thing that I didn't enjoy, but I had another tool in my bag. So I was like, I do enjoy this. While I'm here, let's go do this instead. I guess I'll get a good workout in.
Yeah,
so
it's always
awesome.
good to have those on backup, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because you have those days you can barely get here, especially with a baby. You're going to be tired. Mm-hmm. When you're overly tired, you're not really finding enjoyment even in stuff that you do enjoy just because you're so tired. You came to the gym, you made it here. You are not going to run 2 miles. You are like, I barely made it here. That sounds miserable. You're going to have a terrible time. You might not even run the 2 miles. You might just stop after like a quarter mile, right? So instead, you hit the bag, which you find more enjoyment in. You go longer. You probably did more than you expected rather than running 2 miles. It's always good to have those things on backup, for sure. I enjoy the pain more. So I actively choose these things. But it's something I enjoy. It's like my activity. People... I play pickleball as well. People, of course, are going to choose pickleball over strength training because it's hard, right? They're like, I enjoy pickleball. They'll play that for 3 hours, but working out for 3 hours is like, that's a death sentence. I'm like, okay, well, don't do that, Strength train and do what you need and then play pickleball and have fun. It's just, there's always good to have those activities on backup, for sure. You've been running. It's not your most enjoyed thing. I tried running. It's okay. I can do it. It's not my favorite thing. What I would rather do is sprint. I'd rather do intervals. And people think I'm insane and call me psycho and call me insane, but I would rather sprint up a hill and then when I'm done, lazily walk and recover and do that over and over for 40 minutes rather than run for 40 minutes. And people are like, oh, that's crazy. I'm like, that's crazy? You running 3 miles is crazy. It's just the way you look at it. Yeah, pick your poison, for sure. Absolutely. So,
love that. Well, before I really interrupted you, you were talking about you were with kind of getting back on track here with your friend. I can't remember the name of that company, but you said you went in there. And
Altius. Yep.
So you were working on training different areas of sports and get people training athletes. That's kind of where that shift in your mind went. So what happened from then? Where does the story continue from then?
Trained athletes, that was probably my favorite job. I was working a lot of hours, but that was when my wife, we were just dating, and she actually moved from the cities where we met. We dated a few years down there, and she moved up here to work at Cross Lake Vet Clinic, so we were doing long distance. I was still working there. I was living in St. Paul at the time with my brother and some other guys. That just, I was training athletes. I really changed the way I was thinking and training. But just implementing different programs and training myself was what I loved. I loved the creativity. What I learned is that you don't have to have a gold standard program. You can train anybody any way you need to get the results that you need. And it's, it doesn't have to be perfect by any means. Athletes would come in with like 3 hours of sleep, which is not great. I don't suggest that. But they're also kids, in the summer. They're coming in, they're like, I just went to bed like 4 hours ago, so we're going to see how this goes. I have to be able to adapt to that. Not everything's perfect. If I have this perfect program set out, there's no way they're going to hit let's say I was going to try and do 85% of their max, which they might have. Not every athlete has that, but 85% of their max for so many reps. I'm like, there's no way. There's no way. Look at them. They're barely getting through this warm-up that I'm putting them through. So I had to find ways around that, which led to more creativity and just getting them to move. And not every day is perfect. On the days they are doing well, hit it hard. Go for it. And that's where I took that adaptation, brought it here to Takedown. And from there, I came up here because of my wife. And that's why I brought that up. We talked about moving. I figured she had a good job up here. And as much as I loved my job, I figured I'd be the one moving. And eventually she was like, well, are we doing this thing or what? And so I ended up moving up here because of her. We got engaged, got married. That's in the future.
I'm glad you did. Shout out Corbin's wife. God bless you.
Shout out Caitlin.
Yes.
Baby on the way as well.
Yes.
Due in less than 2 months.
Heck
We're going to be dads together. Shout out dads.
Yeah. I love it.
And then I honestly looked at switching fields at that point. I loved that job at Altius so much, and I didn't know if I was going to find what I needed in the area. And as much as I looked at gyms, there's Anytime Fitness, Planet Fitness, Snap Fitness, and I mean, as crude as it sounds, I was like, well, I don't really want to work there, I don't want to just go back to being a personal trainer. I don't want to really just do general public. I want to train athletes. I did find this job at Takedown, and it implemented both general public and athletes. We're the gym for athletes or whatever. I don't even know our logo or slogan or whatever.
We can cut that out.
Yeah. But yeah, I found a job here, and they had me because I have training experience, and I've just really implemented all the things that I've built from my first job, my training sport specific, bringing a positive attitude. I think those are the things that just matter the most in a sense. And training here, it's more general public than athletes, which is fine. I do love it. I've met a lot of great people. But yeah, that's what brought me here, just a little bit of training experience. It's different for me. My first two jobs were more at a private club. You have to sign up for sessions, semi-private or private. More of an enclosed place. So working at a public gym is different because people can just come in and have memberships. So it's different for me. Obviously having training experience definitely helps. I know what to do, when to do it. If it's packed, what to do, how to train people, which is nice. It is nice knowing that, but it's just very different. The more people around, it's different atmosphere for sure, but it's all been good. I feel like I've helped implement a little bit different culture than people were used to, which is what I was really going for. And it's really changed. Training athletes changed my training aspect. Rather than from when I first started, most people come in, hey, I want to lose, let's just say 10 pounds. I want to lose 10 pounds and I want to shed fat. And as great as that is, it's good to have goals. I kind of go the opposite route. What I train and what I put out there is mental toughness. Can you push yourself to a point where you're like, wow, I really want to be done right now, but you keep going? It's not so much about losing the weight, which is just part of it. It's about, hey, I pushed as hard as I could. I gave everything I had today, and I'm seeing improvements in like mental health and my mental stability, mental toughness, and my body is responding to those by being able to push as hard as I can. I feel better. Measurements I do, instead of like body fat percentage, how much you weigh, how much muscle mass you have, how do you feel throughout an entire day? Can you go outside and shovel the driveway in the winter? Can you mow the lawn? After you mow the lawn, can you weed whip? Can you go back inside? Can you do the laundry? And in your case, the baby starts crying, can you pick it up? Can you walk it around for 45 minutes till it calms down? Can you change the diaper after that? Okay, that's done. Now I got to go finish the laundry. Oh, shoot, I got to go do landscaping outside. How do you feel during all these things? Can you do all these things in a day after your morning workout? Or can you do all those things throughout a day and then come in and get done with the workout? And a big part of it is, yes, you feel physically tired after all those things, but can you shift your mindset to be like, instead of like, oh man, I just did everything under the sun at my house, and I'm just dog tired, and now I have to do a workout. Like, this sounds terrible. Can you switch your mindset to, nope, you know what? I need to go. I need to drive there. I need to get my sweat on. I need to add some strength. I need to, if you like to run, if you want to bike, can you get that done? Changing and shifting your mindset is what I'm all about. These are things that just aren't talked about enough, I think. Yeah, everybody talks about losing weight, getting in better shape. That's great. Like I said, it comes with it, but are you able to push yourself to make it in and be consistent to go to the gym rather than just like, oh, I went yesterday, I'm not going to go today, or I'm not going to do anything. And breaks are great, but consistency is key by far. And that's what kind of drove me to get to where I am today and who I am today. We talked about it at the beginning, but most people dread going to the gym. Kind of like cats and dogs going to the vet clinics. They're like, oh man, the gym, and I have to work hard. It doesn't feel good. Training is uncomfortable, and I understand that. But if you're able to push through that, you're able to put yourself in more uncomfortable positions and be able to get through easier rather than be like, oh my gosh, this is the most dreaded thing I've ever done. Right. So yeah, that's the way I train.
That's a beautiful perspective, and it is very clear that is your mindset. I can't relate 100% with it, but I was thinking of like me working at the jail. Like a lot of people, especially in the past, when you were sentenced to jail or when you did something that you shouldn't have been doing, and you go to jail, people kind of think it's like, oh man, I'm in jail now. It's an awful thing. It's a life sentence, whatever it is. Maybe it's just a minor thing. Maybe that's more what I'm trying to get at here. But it has now shifted from throw people in the jail cell and then throw away the key, lock it, throw away the key. It's, all right, you're here now. What can we do to make sure you don't come back? How can we better your life? Like, this isn't the end of the world for you. This is, what can we do to throw some purpose in with this? And the gym can kind of be similar. Not a jail. It's not people don't come in here going, oh, man.
They do.
Yeah, I mean, they pay to be here. They come in here to purposely kind of change their life, but they're more focused on, like, oh, I'm in the gym. I got to do this. It's gonna be terrible. And you kind of help them shift that perspective of like, sure, yeah, it might be a little difficult, but this isn't the end of the world for you. You're not at rock bottom. Sure, you may be overweight. Sure, you may be dealing with the back injury or these injuries that we're going to help you work through to be the best possible version of yourself. And that's what you bring to the workouts. And like I said, like you have that mindset of we're not just losing the weight, we're not just getting you in better shape, we're not just building muscle, we're going to help you be a better person overall. And I was going somewhere with this.
I got some stuff, and then maybe it'll revamp your mind.
Yeah, let's do it.
Cool. Shoot, I had a brain fart.
Here we are. Back to the purpose side of it, though, is this guy comes in here to try to lose weight, and people are focused on that, and it's coming back to me now. I step on the weight, and I go, man, I'm at this weight, and it's not changing. I'm coming to the gym, and it's not changing. Why is that? But that doesn't mean that the work that I'm putting in isn't making me feel better, isn't helping me with these things. Because, yeah, I come in here, my goal is to lose a little bit of weight, lose a little belly fat. I look in the mirror, and it's still there. Still can't see my abs. It's like, man, and I feel like it's like I'm defeated. Like, it's like, man, you're not making any progress. But like you said, you come in here to try to, how do you feel? How does working out make you feel? Like, every single time I leave here, I'm feeling better. And I'm able to take that into the next step of my life. And like you said, like, apply that to changing a baby and having the mental toughness and the capacity to say, oh, I got one more rep in me. It's like, I got one more diaper in me. I can change this diaper. No, it's crazy. And that's kind of how you operate. Just that bringing that purpose in with people. It's coming back. Here we go. It's not like myself, when I think of working as a police officer, for the longest time, that's what I wanted to do. I wanted that title. That's what I wanted. And maybe you being a personal trainer, it's like, I want to be a personal trainer. That's what I want to do. That's what I'm going to do with my life. And maybe that becomes mundane. It becomes just routine. And you're like, okay, well, now what am I doing? I'm a personal trainer. Hey, I'm Corbin, the personal trainer. Like, it's just day in and day out, the same thing. Oh, this person's not losing any weight. Or maybe, oh, this person did lose weight. Cool. And then, now what? But you get goosebumps. You twist it a little bit to bring that purpose into it. It's not, I'm a personal trainer. It's, what can I do with the title of personal trainer? Not what can it do for me. You were put into this opportunity to be a personal trainer, and that's not what you're focusing on. It's, what can I do with this now? How can I make a difference in people's lives? And it's been said, people, they're not going to remember maybe what you said, maybe not remember what you did, but they're going to remember how you made them feel. And just instilling that purpose and that passion within it. And I think that's why I wanted to have you on the podcast so bad, is you have that. You're not just a guy who works at a gym and is a personal trainer. And I'm not saying that's everybody. I'm not saying that all your coworkers are that. But you bring that purpose, that other side to it. It's like, there's more to life than just working out. There's more to life than just losing weight. And when you can instill that in somebody while they're coming to the gym to try to, lose a little belly fat or try to get a PR, like, make them feel like they're important, make them feel like they can go out there and make a difference in the world. And maybe they're struggling with, addiction. Maybe they're struggling with mental health. Maybe they're writing a note and they're going to end their life. And you had that opportunity to switch their whole life around and can completely change the trajectory of their life based off of just like you wanting to make more out of their life, make more out of a workout. Like, yeah, it is so beautiful. And I'm covered in goosebumps. Look at this. And I'm glad my thought came back. Yes. It's amazing, man, and that's something you bring to the table, and I wish a lot more people did, because, like, grocery store workers, you see everybody, servers, and you can tell when people when they make the most out of their opportunities. It's like, I'm not just a server, I'm not just a plumber, they come there, they fix your toilet, and they make you feel better as a result afterwards. Like, there's people that know how to do that. I don't know how or why, it just doesn't. You can't explain it other than they were just made for it, and that job was made for them. So it's really cool.
I try to bring a refreshing, different aspect to training because, like I said, when people come in and they want to lose weight and lose that belly fat, it's like you can have that goal on the back burner, but honestly, you're going to burn out from those goals if that's all you focus on, unless you are unbelievably dedicated. I think in today's day and age, social media plays a big role, and having the aesthetics to look good is like this big pressure. But it's like, as I age, get closer to being a dad, it's like, does that really matter? Does that matter? Does your baby care about how good you look, or does it care that you can feed him, And when your kids get older, I just want to be able to move with them, be able to run with them. My new goal as I'm becoming a dad is don't let my kid catch up to me. So I have about, I would guess 15 to 17 years. So I have that amount of time to get ready. Don't let my kid catch me. In strength, in speed, in distance, whatever. That's my new goal. Like, goals don't have to be, hey, you got to hit this PR of my squat on 400 pounds. Who cares? Move as much weight as you can. If you can do more, great. Wonderful. But have more well-rounded goals. Or, like, there's different goals. Everybody asks me, what's the gold standard program? How should I lift? Whatever makes you keep coming back. Lift what makes you happy. And I like doing a mix of one thing that you really love to do, mix it with something that you don't like to do. If you program something that is all things that you're like, oh man, this day is not fun. It's this and this and this and this, and I hate all of them. Well, maybe split those up so you don't have one dreaded day that you might not even finish, Right. It's just, you just have to look at it in different ways. And I love doing that for my clients. I give them a product that makes them feel good, makes them work hard, makes them feel accomplished, and they can take that into any aspect of their life. It doesn't have to just be the gym. I train people for a lot of different things. I train the 65-year-old because he just wants to be strong. He has grandkids. He wants to be around for his grandkids. Drop that to a dad who plays pickleball. So we focus pickleball as his main training, but I still lift him. I take him on the field house. I'm having him jump on boxes, having him, he goes left and right, goes forward and back in pickleball, so I train him that way. I throw him these Hiko sticks, which works hand-eye coordination, get him running, get him to do cardio and aspects in ways he never would have even thought, just like work him in ways that he can handle and makes it fun at the same time. And even him, he's like in his 40s, but he's still training like an athlete. That's how I do it with people. You just got to find out what their limits are. So it's just different. Make them think in different ways. It's no longer about, hey, you need to lose that belly fat and then see your obliques and you need to see your six pack. That stuff's for high schoolers who are going on spring break and they're like, I do core so I can have a six pack. And I'm like, wow, what a goal. It's stuff that's not important anymore. Yeah, it's not about how much you weigh or how many pounds you lose. I could lose 6 pounds and that'd be great, but I'd probably feel worse with how I train and what I do. It's not about that so much anymore. It's about how do I move while I'm moving my weights? How do I feel when I'm doing my sprints or when I play pickleball myself? I want to feel good, and it's just different. So I think a big aspect I bring is effort and attitude. I tell people all the time, especially kids, when they want to give up on me. Every day we wake up and we choose. We have 2 things we can choose: effort and attitude. We choose those every single day. So when you wake up, one of my biggest bugaboos is like Mondays, right? Oh man, it's Monday. I hate Mondays. Why do you hate Mondays? Oh, the weekend's over. It's the start of the week. Okay. Or you can wake up and say, hey, it's the start of a week. I can make this week great and fantastic. Or you can dread Mondays and everything sucks and your life sucks and everything's hard and you cannot wait to go back to sleep and then hopefully Tuesday's better. Oh, fingers crossed, hopefully.
Right.
Or, you get to choose every single day. And that's the way I look at it. People are like, oh, it's Monday. I don't want to work out. Well, why not? It's the start of a week. Why not start your week off fantastic? It doesn't have to be a workout either. Right. Make work great. Do that. And then, it gets to Friday. Oh, it's Friday. I can take it easy. It's the start of the weekend. I get to start. Why not go into the weekend, doing something awesome? Like get your workout in. Work hard. Have a great day at work. Then you can go hang out with friends and start your weekend. There's different aspects of you can look at each and every day, rather than having certain days you dread and then certain things happen which makes the day worse, and you're just going down this rabbit hole, and it's just not fun. So yeah,
preach, man.
Yeah,
you sure you're not a pastor?
Maybe I should be. Yeah. Amen.
Oh, that's awesome. I've never heard that. I've heard attitude, but effort. That's 100% up to us.
Yeah.
Nobody else can control our effort.
It's a big thing I try to tell people. I mean, especially kids. I train young kids, and they put in a little bit of effort and they can't move. I make them bear crawl and drag some weight behind them. They're like, oh, this is too hard. I'm like, you get to choose your effort. I give you the tools. You got to, you got to implement them. You got to show me effort. Depends on the kid. They'll go right into it, and then by the time they get to the end of the wall and they touch it, they feel accomplished.
Mm-hmm.
They feel better. Makes them push harder. Makes them come back. So it's fun. It's fun to see.
I love that.
Yeah.
Well, man, it's been a pleasure. Where can people find you? I know sometimes you're posting stuff, and you got your pickleball stuff that's kind of more up and coming and all that. Where can people find you?
I work at Takedown Gym, obviously. We were talking about that.
Takedown.
If you're looking like social media, Instagram, it's just my name, Corbin Bentz. I post a little bit, nothing crazy. I'm not big on social media. I don't have any workout pages or anything like that. It's just not something I enjoy personally, but I am on there posting some content. Otherwise, Takedown Gym right off 371. I have business cards. My card's on there. If you ever need anything, reach out to me that way.
Heck yeah.
Yeah.
Hit him up. He's a pro. He's a man's man. And we've talked about it. You're one of a kind. I appreciate your friendship, man, and I'm looking forward to seeing you be a dad and enjoy this experience.
Yeah, it'll be awesome.
Together, yeah. What are you most excited about for that?
Oh, man. Just the question mark of not knowing what to do, and I get to learn. And
a new journey, yeah.
Yeah, I get to shape and mold a human to be a good person, a hard worker. I call it mini-me. In a sense, yeah.
It will be.
I'm, yeah, right. I'm hoping it gets my work ethic and my wife's brains. I said that thing will be unstoppable.
I can relate to that.
Yeah.
I can relate to that.
Yeah, it'll be unstoppable. So, yeah.
It's been a pleasure.
Always a pleasure, my friend.
Appreciate you, man.
Yeah.
Corbin Bentz, everybody.